Hello, welcome back to the channel, and today we will be doing a video talking about the whole combine and everything that happened with Michigan football. Obviously, there was 18 players. You can see them here. A lot of guys here, more than any school in history, let alone this season. Looking at that draft record, I think it was 15. I think we're going to try to hopefully get 16. Obviously, all 18 getting drafted would be awesome for Michigan, but we don't always see everyone get drafted. So we'll just go position by position, best to worst. Actually, no, offensively, we're gonna go from I think it's like quarterback, running back, receiver. You'll see as we go. But so we just start off obviously with the main guy, the headliner, the guy's jersey I'm wearing, JJ McCarthy, comes in at 6'2" and a half, 219. That's a big thing. He was like 200 flat basically when he came on the campus, so we put a ton of weight on. A bit of a problem that they were talking about him was his durability concerns. Obviously, you've already done the video on JJ on this channel, so quickly go over him. But I'm going to look to hopefully do an individual breakdown for each one of the guys. Maybe O line position instead of the rest of them, but maybe position by position, unless we need a separate video on them. But I'll do quick ones hopefully. So, but yeah, JJ did a great job here. Eventually will be starter, probably yeah. Great three cone drill. I believe his three cone drill was fifth all time, not all time, sorry, fifth out of anybody in the combine. So that's unbelievable from him. 20-yard shuttle in 4.23. Was throwing the ball well, despite the clips you'll see from Ohio State and other rival fans. He threw the ball well. 6.39 is pretty good overall. In the throwing stuff, he did pretty well. A lot of concerns with him throwing the deep ball. He kind of helped that out. Obviously, he didn't hit them, but he overthrew them, which is better than not. Just to show the arms there. Obviously, you can kind of pinpoint it down once we get there eventually. But throwing the ball long is something that he didn't have to do much in Michigan. Glad he got back there. Still a little bit of an issue throwing left. On the rollout, throwing it right, no problem. Throwing it left, got to work on it. JJ doing great. Up next, the face of Michigan football, you can say the last two seasons, Blake Corum. Great job, obviously at Michigan. Good backup, potentially developed into a starter. What they're saying here, 6.15 on this. 4.53 40 was pretty good considering the fact that he is a whopping 205 pounds at 5'8". Good vertical jump, pretty good 10-second time here. Three cones drill slower than JJ, which is hilarious. 27 reps to bench press. That's what you're looking for, though. If you're a guy that's followed Blake Corum as much as I have, you know that it's not really about the 40 time. It was really good when you look back a few knee injuries and leg injuries before at when he played Washington the first time. Obviously, still had some burn in the second Washington game we saw, but I don't really think he's that type of back. Really, I think he's more of a third down, third and short, second and short. Come in, change the pace, get some pressure on the defense. You look like a Chase Brown type guy for the Bengals. He was a backup for Joe Mixon. He had some pretty good series. Every like what third series he would come in and do his thing. That's pretty good. You need a short yardage situation, be great. Like if you look at the Cowboys, right? He wouldn't be the starting running back for Tony Pollard, but Tony Pollard, struggles a little bit between the tackles in short yardage situations. That Blake Corum thrives in it. Like I mean, I say like his efficiency in the short yardage situations reminds me of Ezekiel Elliott in his later stages. I think a guy like that, a really efficient short yardage back, not like a fullback type, but if he needs to be really good in the red zone. Kind of got a reputation as a goal line merchant, people would call it. But hey, it's the end zone. Who cares how far out it's from? A 1 yard touchdown is the same amount of points as a 99-yard touchdown. But he gets the end zone, does well. A little bit slower than some people would have thought. I thought it was fine. Again, I'm not a big 40 guy, especially a guy like Corum. You don't really need the 40-yard dash, but at 27 reps is one of the best out there, best among Michigan as well. So great job there. And I think like Corum, I think I would say late third, early fourth, really depending on what you want. Like again, if you're a team like the Cowboys, you're going to want them. If you're the Bills, you've got a problem. You don't want to have Josh Allen being your guy on third and inches, right? You want a guy like Corum is run full speed in there, and they love their short yardage or their small guys over at McDermott at the Bills. So I would not be surprised to see Wolverine over there. I have another guy I'll talk about later. Up next, we have, I believe it should be Roman Wilson, right? Yep, this is Roman Wilson. I know it's not loading up top. There he is. Out of Maui, 5'11", 195, 185, excuse me, 6.37, pretty good. He had a slow 40 of a 4.39, 4.39. I know that's crazy that he's saying that is slow. Only 12 reps, but again, he's not really that type of guy. a really good a guy that'll be working in the slot underneath. Can return kicks. I do that a little bit in the pros. He get on the field to get acclimated with the pros. That earlier in his career, he was returning kicks. Back when he was 14, receiver number one last year, had a ton of touchdowns. He had 10 in the first few games. Obviously, not much competition there, but when you throw the ball as little as Michigan does, him getting that many touchdowns is very impressive. So I think Roman will project to be a pretty good third option type guy going forward. Not to keep beating that dead horse of the Bengals, like a Tyler Boyd, like a pretty solid third option. He could be a second if he needs to, but I think for the first few seasons, he'll be a good third or fourth yard guy where you pop up and be like, hey, okay. I think like Khalil Shakir is a pretty good comparison, I would say, like a smaller, shifty type guy. That you're like, hey, he got it there, like a Cole Beasley almost too, like a speedy middle of the field slant type guy. I think would be really good for Roman. People like to have him throw it deep as well. I think he's going to work really good underneath in the middle. Get some good third downs for you. Like, hey, third down, be an extra receiver on the field. He'll be a guy coming at first. Obviously, he'll work his way up, hopefully. But I like to be very realistic and set low expectations. Not low expectations, but like be as realistic as possible when it comes to these guys. I'm not going to be like, hey, Ron Wilson's going to walk in and be Jamar Chase. Like, of course not. That's not the type of guy he is. But I think him being a good third, fourth option is a great way to kind of work him into the system. And it really depends on what you want. Could he be a guy in the Chiefs that does the Sky Moore role they thought they were going to do? Absolutely. He's got the wheels. I don't know if he had obviously 49 was a bad 40 for him. That says a lot how fast he is. So I think you're looking at him probably third round. He's one of those guys that early second, late second, early fourth. Anywhere in that range, I think would really likely see him. But I'd be pretty confident he's going day two. A lot of these Michigan guys, I think, are anywhere from late second, early fourth. There's kind of going to be a fluctuation based on what happens. Obviously, a lot of smoke up to the draft, and a Michigan Pro Day is going to be awesome for all these guys. So, moving forward, Cornelius Johnson, the other receiver, didn't do a ton at Michigan outside of a few games against Ohio State. I always joke that I know a lot of my fan base is Detroit players, Detroit fans. You guys will understand what's going on here with the Tigers, where there's always be a random guy on the Cleveland Indians / Guardians, or a guy on the Twins or the Royals that you'd call, or White Sox has this too. You'd call the Tiger Killers. Obviously, El Garcia once he got traded. Victor Martinez before he was on our team. Billy Butler, Josh Bell last season. Just these guys that just only show up against the Tigers. And Cornelius Johnson only showed up against Ohio State really for most of the time. So he's a big game player. Obviously, you think of Cornelius Johnson, all of his highlights, I'm pretty sure, are going to probably come from the Ohio State game last year when he had that catch on the sideline. Actually, had another really good sideline catch against Alabama in the Rose Bowl. It's not talked about a ton. But obviously, the 2022 Ohio State game. In the horseshoe, he had those two crazy long touchdowns thrown up the Black Panther. That's what you'll probably see if he gets drafted. They'll do like the cut. Mel Kiper, like, hey, Mel, I like this guy. You'll see that cut there. That's him. Athletically, big guy. Really good at contested catches. Again, when you don't throw as much as Michigan and you have one of the highest contested catch rates in the country, that's really impressive. Again, Michigan didn't play a lot of people and threw it a lot when they weren't playing a lot of the best players. So, what did you really see in the games where he wasn't doing much? Great run blocker, has no problem blocking with the run. In today's era of these, diva TikTok type receivers, you don't have a lot of guys that want to go in there and rustle them up. Quick comparison, I would say, for what I would say is like a Donovan Peoples-Jones type guy. Like what he is now. You're not really going to see much out of Cornelius. It'd be tough to expect a ton from him, but I think he's like even like a Jawan Jennings type role, right? Where if he gets in the right spot, you could really see him thrive. We don't think of when you think of Jawan Jennings, you don't think of when you think of the Niners, you think Jawan Jennings. Obviously, he had an unbelievable Super Bowl. I'm not like talking about that, but like as a guy goes down, he got more production. He's a big body, loves to block, loves to run block, get one or two targets a game, probably on third down, maybe one or two go routes. That's really what he did a lot at Michigan, and he did it pretty efficiently. So, the type of guy that you could have be a very important player on your team. Like I was joking with my friends in the office with the Bills, have him be third or fourth receiver, going there to run block, run block downfield when it comes to we could go downfield and run block very well, if Josh Allen's going crazy in the pocket. But I think Cornelius would be a pretty good selection, probably late 5th, actually, early 6th. And he's to be a steal. He's one of the few Michigan guys I firmly believe should be going higher than they are. He was not used. He was supposed to help Michigan. Obviously, we didn't. I wouldn't change anything with how Michigan played the last few seasons, but I think he's one of those guys that not Nico Collins like in the pros, not at all. I'm not saying that, but I think like a Nico Collins like where you're like he is better than what he showed at Michigan. So that's what I would say with Cornelius. AJ Barner up next. We only had the pleasure of AJ Barner on the Michigan Wolverines for one season. Great game against Michigan State. AJ Barner, I mean, he's kind of like a Brock Wright to Sam Laporta's Colston Loveland. If you're doing a Lions example again, he loves to block, loves to hit people. Very complete tight end in the era of a not many complete tight ends. He loves to block. He loves to catch. He can do all that stuff. I know, like, I deal with a lot of Ohio State fans on Twitter, talking with them. They all would love him on the Bengals. If you got a lot of Ohio State guys saying they want that guy in their pro team that bad, it's a very rare thing. So Barner, I think, is going to be a pretty interesting prospect. He looks like on all the mock draft apps, you kind of can find him in the 5th round. I think he's going to be higher because, a really good run blocking tight end is one of those unsung hero type guys, and Barner can block and he can catch. When you think of you look at the Lions for an example, Brock Wright has like 3 or 4 catches in a year. It seems like obviously it's more than that, but you think about the Jets last season, he had that 4th and 1, he took like 50 yards. This season he had a huge catch on 4th down. The safe hands from Barner, he will catch the ball every time he's targeted. He will catch it, and he will be in there blocking his ass off whenever you need him to. And he'll be like a ball knower type guy when you're like, hey, I know AJ Barner is one of my favorite players. He does everything right. He does all the blocking. He'll get super high PFF grades on blocking. I think he's '1 blocking tight end in college football last year, if I'm not mistaken. And he did a ton for Michigan in the run game. It was almost like a 6th offensive lineman because he's 6'6", 250. So he can even put a bit more weight on if he needs to, but I don't even think so. But would be a really good backup tight end. Can I see him starting? Probably not, but if it was a system where you don't really rely on tight ends as much, I think he could be a good plug and play option again for like a Bengals type team. Up next is the first of the many offensive linemen, LaDarius Henderson, the transfer from Arizona State. Again, only had a pleasure of him on Michigan for a season, I believe. I think only one season. Shout out to his wife, I believe. She had a really viral TikTok. She did the cleats for JJ, where it was like the super old Jordan logo with like the rose on it. Unbelievable job. She's on TikTok, I think. Hey, if you get him out in San Fran, the collabs between Miss Juszczyk and Miss Henderson could be some unbelievable stuff there. I just want to put that out there because she does the really cool shoes, and Juszczyk obviously does the awesome jackets. You could get some really cool stuff there, which I think is cool that the league's kind of talking about that stuff. That's awesome. But he played left tackle. He is going to be a guard. If he gets into the league, he'll be a guard. He's one of the fringe guys. No disrespect. He's one of the fringe guys, I think, for Michigan, potentially not to get drafted. But, when you think of Michigan in that unit, he was really good. He played guard more often than not. I think at Arizona State, again, I did not watch much Arizona State. Sorry, I don't think anyone else did. But he played left tackle for the Wolverines last year. It was a nightmare at times. Chop Robinson had his way with him at times. That's why Michigan had to run the ball so often. But when you have a guard playing tackle, it just stunk. He wasn't able to handle the speed rush. But when you're playing guard, it's going to be a lot easier. It's a lot more bullish. He was able to hold his own there. 6'4", 309, really good frame in there. And I think that he'll be fine in terms of being a guard, good backup guard. Could he work his way up to being a starter? Absolutely. Michigan doesn't recruit guys that aren't dogs. So I think he'll do great there. Only did 20 reps in the bench press, no actual movement stuff. It was hard to find any highlights of him, anything. I don't even think he has a raw score on here, but pretty good measurables. And best of luck to LaDarius. I think it'd be a good steal in like the 7th round for somebody. Karsen Barnhart. Very interesting season for Michigan. Not loading here yet, but he again was another guy. He played right guard at times, and then switched out to right tackle most of the year. And then when Zinter got hurt, he went back into right guard. So he's again another guy, just like Henderson. He's a guard that was playing tackle last season. So he got burned a ton again in that Penn State game. But when he ended up playing guard in the second half of the Ohio State game, when Zinter went down, that was like the best unit we've had. And he was able to go inside, and he also couldn't handle the speed rush, but you don't have to deal with that nearly as much when you're a guard. Pretty much mirroring everything I said with Henderson, but I think he will get drafted. I think he could go a late 6th round, early 7th because he had a very good combine. 5.21's all right, but his vertical and broad jump were very good. I don't have his raw score on hand. I'm gonna look it real quick. Sorry for the bad podcasting here. But if you look at his raw score, he had a 9.23, which was 110th out of 1,421 guards in the history of the raws. He had a great explosion with yeah, his vertical and broad jump was unbelievable, and his 10-yard split was actually really good. They said, yeah, 1.78, so 7.6. So great by him, and yeah, like to see, yeah, he's running the combine here with legendary Michigan lineman, Mister Bussin' with the Boys himself, Taylor Lewan. So Barnhart really good. I think he'll project as one of the fringe guys too. I think it's him, and then I actually do hit Trente next because Trente I think is the other guy with Henderson that's on the edge there. Trente Jones, a surprise for Mr. Trente Jones. I didn't really think that he was going to go pro, but then again, you look at what happened with his tape in at the end, very good because he ended up playing. You know, he always would sub in as a sixth man, but he didn't start much until the end of the year. Wyndham went out, unfortunately, but he played the last 3 games of the year, 4 games of the year, excuse me, and he was going crazy. He was doing very well against those Alabama rushers, and that tape alone probably going to get him drafted. I think he's better of the other guys on the bench. He again could play guard. He played tackle when he had to. It's whatever you want, and that flexibility on this Michigan line is great. The last 3 guys I just talked about was able to play guard and tackle, and that flexibility of the pros is what you need because you've seen even guys like Johnson go 6th overall, and they were almost going to play him guard just to kind of get him up to the speed and then tackle. Tackle in the NFL is one of the most important positions, and the freakiest of athletes have to be there. And Trent had a pretty good combine. Again, really good job here. I'll look up his rows as well because again, it's very important for these offensive linemen. What's happening here? Let's see, Trente, um, 8.02, so a bit worse of a ROS, but he had a really good 40-yard dash with a 5.17. Really good. You can see here, obviously, this video is playing. You can see him. He's hauling. It's a big boy, right? Good job there. And then he had a really good broad jump as well, they said, 9.1. So good explosion, kind of what you need if you're going to play tackle. Good job there. I don't think he'll be able to play tackle at the professional level. And again, I think he's going to be a 6th, 7th, maybe undrafted type guy. But if we get those 3 guys I just talked about drafted, the combine record the draft record is being smashed. The last of the guys here, Drake Nugent, transfer from Stanford. Again, only had the pleasure of having him as a Michigan Wolverine for 1 season. He came over from Stanford, was in the Remington finalists for best center after Olu left. And he was good. 6'1", 298, a bit smaller, I believe, like height-wise. I don't know if that's perfect. I love how I'm calling a guy taller than me, a little bit taller than me, short and small, but that's what we have to do in the combine. That's the Nugent. Nugent, he had a 6.83. He had a really good explosive agility grades here with the shuttle and the 3-cone. Shuttle and 3-cone. Yep, really good job there. Good on the bench as well, but at he is a poor size. So that is what it is. 5.23 is what it is. We can watch him run it down here. Big guy moving. Look at him go. That's a center, right? You don't really need your center running that much. I don't even know why they have these guys run, but it's kind of fun. But again, he's similar to the other guys. I think but him being a center is obviously a much more important position in the league. So I think that he will go a bit higher. I would not be surprised to see him 5th roundish. But a lot of these linemen are going to go later in the round. The other ones coming up next year are the guys that go higher. But as of now, I think he'll probably go 4th, late 4th, early 5th. Not much player comparisons, an offensive lineman, but got to give him respect, especially in the Wolverines. And now we move to the top 2 offensive linemen performing wise, I believe. Trevor Keegan, obviously one of the faces of the Michigan Wolverines over the last few seasons, forever immortalized by shotgunning and catching beers from the crowd in the championship parade with his shirt off, holding, I think, a trophy at one point. Crazy stuff. It was freezing. I was at the parade. It was very, very cold and windy. So the fact that he was tarps off is just unbelievable stuff. That's the type of thing I would draft a guy on. That's just me. I was at a party very well, have a great time, and he puts work in like crazy. 6'5", 310, great size. He killed the combine. Let me pull up his numbers as well. Um, but yeah, let's see here. Keegan, I want to get his raws for sure. But yeah, look at his stuff down here. Here's his combine. We can look at that while I am pulling it up here. Look at him move. He is flying, man. That for a guard, that's crazy. He had a 9.38 combine. That is the 91st best combine out of 145, 1,445 from 1987 to 2004. So he had a very good year. I think they added in the bench. No, they didn't. They updated some of his times here, but yeah, um, he had a crazy explosion. He had a 30. What is that? Vertical was 30 inches, very good for a guy his size. Broad jump, again, almost 9 feet. Very good stuff. Very fast dash, good split. The split was incredible, actually. 1.78 was the best part on here. So he's doing great. A guy that I really personally like a lot. Again, he embodies the team. Great guy. I think that what we're going to see is he's going to slide up draft boards. Really good culture fit, everything there. I would be surprised. I initially had him at like a 5th round, 4th round type guy. I think he could sneak in the late 3rd because guard, again, a very important position in the NFL. That all the O line is, but I would not be surprised if he's a 4th round guy. But his combine helped him move up from like end of 4th, into solid 4th, potentially pushing 3rd, depending on what we want to see here. And I think a lot of these Michigan guys are getting drafted because of how good the team was and the culture was. And, they held it like professionals. You can see what Jim talked about, how this whole team acted like professionals the whole time. And with, you know, the fact that they were like a player led team. And he's one of the guys that led the whole players. So great on him. He will definitely be doing great. And final one here in the offensive half of the video is Zak Zinter, the face of the Michigan O line. He is, I think he's like built from the trenches on his forearm. Great stuff up from Mass, 6'6", 309. I don't think he did any drills because he hurt his leg. Graham Glasgow is his comparison. Great right there, right? You know, keeping in the family. He didn't do anything because he broke his leg, obviously, but overall, his size was very good. Did stuff there. He's going to go probably. It depends on what his leg medicals do, and if he can actually do anything by the pro day. I doubt it because he broke his leg like in November. He's still got really good size, and along with his production in college and how he did, I think it's definitely going to be 2nd round for him. Maybe early, mid to late 2nd, probably maybe early if he gets lucky on some other position stuff. But Cooper Beebe had a hell of a combine. A few other guards did as well. The guy from Duke, Graham Barton, maybe, I think some guy from Duke. I forgot his name. I think Graham something. And then Powers Johnson, the interior lineman as well from Oregon, are the guys off the top of my head that before we go ahead of him. But he's in that mid range with the kid from BC, UConn, and then the center from Georgia. The names are escaping me, but I know, their schools and stuff. So that's all we have for this part of the video. Today, this will be Monday's video? Yeah, Monday, we will have the offense come out, and then tomorrow, Tuesday, will be the defensive side of the ball. So that's all we have for now. Thank you all for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.